Welcome back. David Heurtel in for Elias. Well, I got called out on social media this weekend about the whole Terrebonne bike path project by our next guest. She wanted to come on, saying, quote, "Why don't you have me on too so you have an opposing view?" So here she is, the former mayor of the CJAD borough, and a regular on the Big Five. Sue Montgomery is on the line. Good morning, Sue.
Hi, Dave. What I said was, why don't you have me on to debate Mark?
No, I'm reading. No, sorry, Sue. I'm reading literally what you wrote.
I know, but it was in a conversation.
Literally,
about Mark.
David Heurtel.
Okay.
Why don't you have me on too so you have an opposing view? Just for the record, last week on this very issue, the Terrebonne bike lane, I had current Projet Montreal Mayor Cadawa to talk about this and to present the view. I had Erwin Rappaport of the Association des Résidents de Terrebonne to talk about that. And I did have Mark Perez, who wanted to talk both about that project and a bike lane project in Park X. So,
okay, well done.
Sue,
well done.
I'm just saying, no, but I just want to state the facts. I'm not trying to be slanted in any way. So, Sue, you were mayor between 2017 and 2021. You had originally developed a project for Terrebonne, but you suspended it. Go.
Okay. So I just want to say off the top that no one anywhere is suggesting we eliminate cars. Not at all. Like, the end goal here is to share the space, public space, safely with all forms of transport. You have your cars, you have your bikes, and you have your walking. Okay, so I just want to make that clear that I am not suggesting we get rid of cars, because I understand that's not possible. And for some people, they absolutely need their car. I get that. But I also think that there are a lot of people who, they actually use a bike as their main form of transportation. So they want to be able to do it safely. And when people complain about bikes going on sidewalks, it's because they don't feel safe riding on the road. So if we divide all the spaces, everyone has their designated space, and you stay in your lane, so to speak. Anyway, so going back to when we brought this in, it was during COVID, and you remember the government said during that nightmare, we all had to, what was it? You had to stay away from each other. I can't remember.
Social distancing, right?
Social distancing, that was it.
Yeah.
And so we put in little parks like at Royal and Sherbrooke, and we found ways to do it. And one of the ways was to have this bike path on Terrebonne, because people couldn't walk side by side on the sidewalk either. So it was sort of a bike / walking, distancing, social distancing kind of thing. So we thought, well, this is good because it can be a pilot project, and if going forward, people like it, then maybe it can become permanent. Unfortunately, certain council members, Peter McQueen, I'm looking at you, bailed at the first sound or first peep of opposition from people. And as you know, they weren't exactly a council that was united. So, and then Marvin Rotron and Lionel Perez, the councillors from different districts, came in and stirred up all kinds of trouble and fear-mongering and told everyone the world was going to end if this bike path continued. So we were forced to back down without even giving it a chance, which is unfortunate. I mean, it was always going to be removed in the fall. But, nobody wanted to give it a chance. Or not nobody, but a very loud minority, let's say. So that was unfortunate, because now they do have the bike path, and it isn't a pilot project, So, and we also set up a committee. Like, when people say they weren't consulted, that I don't agree with that. We set up a committee where they were all, and it was chaired by Peter McQueen. And we had members from all of the stakeholder groups. So I wasn't part of that. So I don't know what happened in it, but I know they came out with a report, and I think they made suggestions about what would work. And I believe what's happening now was one of the suggestions. I could be mistaken on that. But so that's the history of it. And I think what they've come up with is a pretty good compromise because they're still parking on one side of the street. So a lot of people, and I'm sure you've seen on social media, I've engaged, despite my better judgment, in the debate again, because I do feel quite strong about it, as you know. And, I said to some of the people, like, you're blaming the wrong people. Like, you're blaming cyclists for this happening. But the fact of the matter is we have too many cars. There are too many cars. So, and what I learned while I was mayor were there many, many people in the NDG that do not use their driveways to park their cars. So my thinking as mayor, I thought, why don't we have a special vignette? If you have a driveway, you have that sticker on your car, and you should use your driveway. I think that makes sense. Like, why not? But I learned that a lot of residents like to park on the street in front of their house because they don't like strangers parking in front of their house, which to me is ludicrous, but whatever. So that's one way we could help the lack of parking situation. And the other thing was, a lot of households own like 3 or 4 cars. So we really need, like, the space isn't finite. Like, we're going to have to do something at some point to reduce the number of cars. So if people who want to bike and would like to bike but don't bike right now because they don't feel safe would switch from using their car to biking, and I know there are a lot of people that are willing to do that, then it's a win-win. We have fewer cars on the road, less traffic, less demand for parking, and everybody wins. Like, I just don't understand why we can't share.
Sue, just one question because I'm going to run out of time.
Sure.
Because I wanted to give you full time because you know the file particularly well. You have your position, so I think it's totally fair for you to expose it and present it, especially since you have intimate knowledge of the history of the project. My only question, and I'm reading from Matthew Daldalian's article in the Gazette last week about the issue regarding access to schools. That seems to be, now again, this is not about the debate cars versus bicycles, safety, this and the other thing. The problem here is you're going to have disabled kids, blind kids that are going to have a real difficulty, according to this article, to access those schools because of the bike path.
You're talking about the Mackay Center.
I am.
Right. Okay.
And so that's a real issue, apparently.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But if you look at the Mackay Center, they actually have a circular driveway. Like, you drive in, you drop the kids at the door, you drive out. So,
yeah, but I'm sorry to interrupt, but the article says that there are buses that take that driveway, and when parents come, there are buses there, and so if they can't park in front because of the bike path, they have to go much further, and in the winter it could be a real problem. That's what the article says. Okay.
They also have 52 parking spots, Mackay Center, but these are things that can be tweaked and adjusted, like, I don't think the council, and I heard Gracia's interview with you, I don't think she's close to working out.
She's not. She agreed to meet with them again. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. So, I think, I just think that everybody, my issue when people say, well, what about the disabled people? What about the elderly people? But it's a little bit dishonest. Like, they really just want their own parking spot, right? But they're using these people to make their argument. Like, if they really felt strongly about that, they would have been advocating for the disabled and the elderly a long time ago. But, so I'm absolutely 100% sure that this council, at least Gracia, will meet with people and find solutions. And I also think that cyclists are willing to find solutions as well. Like, nobody wants people to lose out, but where I think cyclists draw the line, and people who support this bike path is, some people are just going to have to accept they can no longer park in front of their house. Like, okay. That's what they don't want to give up.
All right, Sue. I got to end it there. I'm out of time, but thank you for jumping on. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Sue Montgomery, former mayor of the borough of Côte-des-Neiges, NDG.